My name is Robert L. Harris, and welcome to this special edition of All About Community, where we will focus on 4 candidates for mayor of Oakland. As you know, on November 8th, a new mayor will be elected to lead the city. Beyond question, Oakland has enormous potential, but achieving that potential requires exceptional leadership from a mayor who believes in Oakland and who is willing to make tough decisions that will ensure Oakland's prominence. We have 4 candidates with us who profess to be able to meet this challenge. They are Sheng Thoa, Loren Taylor, Ignacio de la Fuente, and Treva Reid. In this order, each of you will have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves. Thereafter, I will ask several questions to which each of you will respond. Councilperson Thoa, you may start your introduction.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Harris, for having me today. I'm Council President Pro Tem Sheng Thoa, currently on the Oakland City Council, and I am running to be Oakland's next mayor. I believe that it is my not only experience at City Hall, where I have 10 years of executive experience, where I've worked as a staffer, understanding all of the different gridlocks, to becoming council member in 2018. I am the most effective council member, making sure that all the projects that I fought for and has been funded for are already broken ground and is already being developed, or it's already breaking ground and going to be completed by the end of my term come December. I'm a daughter of refugees. I grew up majority of my life in public housing. I'm a domestic violence survivor, and not just that, a single mom. I went here to Merritt College here in our beautiful city of Oakland, where that gave me the opportunities and pathway to become not just a council member, but to actually sustain a life here for myself and my son. I graduated valedictorian from Merritt College, and from there I headed over to UC Berkeley, where I helped found the foundations of the Bear Pantry, which is a food insecurity program for students, especially students with dependents. With that being said, I do have the experience to start on day one and to make those tough decisions. I know that it's going to take a regional approach, a local approach, and a statewide approach. And I'm honored to have the support of the majority of council members on the city council. We know that we cannot move the city forward if the mayor's office is not able to work with the city council members. And that is my skill set, bringing different groups of people together that usually wouldn't have conversations with each other, and making sure that we keep our North Star of investing in Oakland and moving the city forward together. I also have endorsements from Supervisor Richard Valle, and thank you so much, and I look forward to answering more questions.
Councilmember Taylor.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. My name is Loren Taylor. I am a son of Oakland, born and raised here, a product of this incredible town. I'm a husband to Dr. Erica Taylor, a father to Cameron and Manny, a mentor to many young Oaklanders. I'm also a biomedical engineer turned management consultant and entrepreneur. But at my core, I'm a kid from Oakland who has seen the direction that our city is headed and realized that I can no longer operate on the sidelines or on the periphery, but had to step up in order to serve my incredible town as we wrestle with some truly complex challenges, but tap into the amazing potential that we have. It's that potential that my grandparents moved here for in the 1940s from the segregated South, to realize a dream for themselves and for future generations of their family. I stand in front of you as evidence of dreams that were fulfilled, but the dreams that many Oaklanders have today are not being delivered on. We can't deliver on the dreams of our incredible residents when we have lawlessness across our city, folks afraid to even go out of their homes, when we have poor educational outcomes, our educational system isn't working, when we have homelessness, our unhoused residents, neighbors all across our streets. It makes me angry, it makes me furious, but that anger and that frustration, it's not just enough to have it. We've got to be able to channel it with the skills and the abilities to deliver real solutions. And that's what I have been doing, solving tough, complex problems before coming into City Hall. That's what I've been doing as a council member and look forward to doing as Oakland's next mayor. making those same tough decisions, bringing innovative solutions, standing up against special interests in a way that makes sure that we center Oaklanders, their needs, and really drive forward the change that we deserve. And so that's what I look forward to doing as our next mayor, pulling Oaklanders together, much as I have as the District 6 council member, addressing violent crime, helping keep our communities safe,
10 seconds.
bringing true solutions to create economic opportunities for those who have been disenfranchised, and also addressing our homelessness and housing crisis head on. And I look forward to talking more as we continue.
Your time has expired. Former City Councilman Ignacio de la Fuente.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, and thank you to your viewers for allowing us to get into your homes. My name is Ignacio de la Fuente, and I'm running to be your next mayor. You already gave me the privilege to serve you as your council member in Fruitville in San Antonio District for almost 21 years. I represented the city council from 1992 to 2012. And I built a reputation of a person that got things done. When you look at that district, when I took it over, and you look at that district now, and when you look at those major projects that transformed that neighborhood, that's what I work on. When you look at the Transit Village, and when you look at Cesar Chavez Learning Center, when you look at the Equal Access Ordinance that was introduced in the city almost 25 or 30 years ago, that was part of the leadership. That was part of providing what Oakland needs, not only access for people, but really transform neighborhoods. I'm coming back after 10 years because I can't stand what's happening to the city the same way that you do. I can't stand that you cannot get out on the street and park your car. I can't stand that you cannot get out of your homes because your entrances are blocked by illegal encampments on our streets and our parks. I'm running because this city is in crisis. And I'm not running to change everything. I'm just running to make sure that this city is safe, that this city is clean, and we deliver services that you pay for. That's what I'm running. And I'm ready to make those decisions that need to be made. We have to be honest with ourselves. Some of the problems that we have in the city is by the policies of this council, and by the lack of leadership of this mayor. Oakland has become a city that people come and do whatever they don't do anywhere else. Why? Because we allow it. We have created an environment that in Oakland everything goes. I'm here to change that. I'm here to concentrate on the basics. I'm not here to fix global warming or anything else. I'm here to fix Oakland. And we will help. And with the ability that I have working with people, building coalitions, with a proven record of getting things done, I believe that I'm the person that Oakland needs at this time.
You have 10
I'm only
seconds
running for one
left.
term. I'll have no other aspirations except pay back what Oakland has given me for the last 51 years. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I am Ignacio de la Fuente. I served a beautiful city of Oakland in the council for 21 years. I am coming back and running because I can't stand and watch what is happening to our city. In the last 10 years since I left City Hall, Oakland is falling apart. The streets are not safe. Businesses are struggling. People are leaving. Seniors are attacked. Our community is not safe. Enough is enough. I'm running to take care of the people of Oakland.
This November 8th, vote Ignacio de la Fuente for mayor. He will fix Oakland.
Alameda County is where I work, play, pray, and love. Challenging times demand leaders who bring people together and fight for our rights. I'm Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm running to be your supervisor because we can and we must do better. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, nurses, firefighters, and more. Together, we can build stronger, healthier communities.
To solve Oakland's problems, we need a mayor who is determined.
I grew up in poverty and I've survived domestic violence, but I was determined. I put myself through school, got into public service, and became a council member, making a difference on public safety, homelessness, and housing. As mayor, I'll bring that same determination to leading this city.
Because Oakland, our time is now.
Council person Treva, Reid.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Treva Reid. I'm the Oakland City Council member for District 7, Deep East Oakland, and I'm running to lead and move Oakland forward as our mayor to deliver for all of us. The change, the accountability, the action, the results that we deserve and have too long demanded, especially in parts of our city like Deep East Oakland. I've been on council long enough to know that this is not working for us, but short enough not to lose that hunger for change, wanting to show up and delivering a more equitable multi-billion-dollar budget, ensuring that I hire and lead an administrative staff that will show up and deliver for all of us, from east to west Oakland and north to central Oakland, from the flatlands to the hills. I'm running to move beyond the politics and the politicking that has disserved our community and has not delivered for us. My experience boils down to two words: action and accountability. As a resilient single mother, I had my daughter at Hampton University. I raised my daughter here, and she was blessed to get a full ride to Harvard University. I've run my own small business. I've helped to launch our family small business that's still alive nearly 2 decades later. I've worked at the state legislative level with Senator Nancy Skinner when she was our state assembly member and state budget chair, delivering on policies and funding that benefited Oakland as the senior aide for this city and our county. I've worked in partnership on strategies and solutions on the board with over 12 community-based organizations. I have been doing the work. I have led Fortune 500 multi-billion-dollar companies to great success. This is a time of change that demands courageous leadership with that contagious hope and faith in action, showing up for us, making sure that we take care of our community, that we deliver the basics that we do deserve and more to thrive and stay here. I've been leading from that deep well with my lived experience, with a strategy of integrity and love, having understood and enduring the deep trauma of having lost our son, Brandon, to gun violence, having faced the threat of homelessness myself,
You have 10
unemployment.
seconds left.
And so I am here to make sure that I bring forth that action of leadership to reduce the crime, prioritizing public safety, housing our unhoused, keeping our small businesses working, keeping our people working in Oakland, keeping our city clean and beautiful. Oaklanders deserve action. Hold me accountable, and let's bring Oakland back on track together.
Councilperson Thoa, first question is to you. Given that crime and public safety are important issues for Oaklanders, what, if any, specific plans and actions you will take to deal with this problem? And why do you believe your plans will be effective?
Thank you for that question, Mr. Harris. So crime is really personal to all of us. And just to tell you a little example around what my family has gone through, my son was home alone and there was a burglary that they broke in. They saw him. They looked at him. They didn't care. They went on with what they were doing. They were burglarizing our home and he was home alone. So he is traumatized to this very day. He is 16 years old now and he will not stay home alone. And so we must ensure that those who are violating our personal spaces, who are pulling the trigger, that this small population of people is taken off our streets immediately. And so I do have a public safety comprehensive plan. You can visit Sheng, S-H-E-N-G, for Oakland.com, so that you can actually read the full policy. But first, what we must do is it's not about anyone individually. We have to come together to step up and be tough, to ensure that we are working together. So the first thing I do is start an interagency task force, because crime is fluid. It is just not here in Oakland. It is fluid, and if we can get this small population of people who are pulling the trigger off the streets immediately, we would all be better because of it. And not just that, but when we talk about public safety, we can't talk about the response but not talk about the prevention part. I am the only council member who have voted, the only mayoral candidate who have voted for violence prevention and violence interrupters, investing in our young people, investing in the forefront. And so as your mayor, I want to implement a year-round paid internship, get our young people into the different jobs that can put money into their pockets, keep them busy, and not just that, but ensure that we can go and get outside funding to come and support and sponsor the community events that are keeping our kids not only busy, but safe, and bringing them and building community together. Because that is how we keep ourselves safe. For far too long, the government has not been working for its residents in regards to violence prevention and creating pathways and opportunities. And that is what Oaklanders need. And that is what I can bring as your next mayor.
Your time has
Thank you.
expired. Councilman Taylor, same question.
Thank you. As a black man growing up in this city, I know all sides of our public safety debate. What we experience lands squarely on the shoulders, more deeply impacting black men. And that's why the lived experience that I have and I will bring to this role is critical. In Oakland, we have seen the pendulum swing too far to the left, where we have been misled that compassion means that we don't enforce any of the laws that we have, that we know keep us safe and ensure the quality of life within our city. It's important that we come back to center and achieve the both and. Yes, we can be compassionate, addressing root causes, prevention, and holding the line, making sure that we don't have folks taking advantage of Oaklanders at the same time. I will continue leading as I have as the council member, when I did in the face of the tragic killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, when instead of simply referring and deferring to the loud voices in the room that we defund the police and go along with those reductions, even without a plan on how we would fill the gap, it was important for me to architect a path and a process to get towards a more equitable and just public safety system while also keeping community members safe. And so that's what I've done. As mayor, I will continue to call for increasing resources for our officers so that they can respond quickly and effectively as needed, and make sure that we offload those nonviolent crimes, those nonviolent calls for service to our macro program and other civilian responders. I will also make sure that we implement the necessary tools in order to help us reduce our 911 response times so that we can deploy more dispatch officers, have those responses more effective. We have to double our violent crime clearance rates, not just with more officers, but the tools and technology, surveillance,
You have
also
10
license plate
seconds
readers
left.
and others. And yes, when it comes to really doubling down, we have to look at the crime prevention and crime deterrence programs that exist. Ceasefire, violence interrupters, and teaching our kids
And
in
your
schools.
time has expired.
Thank you.
I am Ignacio de la Fuente. I served a beautiful city of Oakland in the council for 21 years. I am coming back and running because I can't stand and watch what is happening to our city. In the last 10 years since I left City Hall, Oakland is falling apart. The streets are not safe. Businesses are struggling. People are leaving. Seniors are attacked. Our community is not safe. Enough is enough. I'm running to take care of the people of Oakland.
This November 8th, vote Ignacio de la Fuente for mayor. He will fix Oakland.
Alameda County is where I work, play, pray, and love. Challenging times demand leaders who bring people together and fight for our rights. I'm Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm running to be your supervisor because we can and we must do better. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, nurses, firefighters, and more. Together, we can build stronger, healthier communities.
To solve Oakland's problems, we need a mayor who is determined. I grew up in poverty and I've survived domestic violence, but I was determined. I put myself through school, got into public service, and became a council member, making a difference on public safety, homelessness, and housing. As mayor, I'll bring that same determination to leading this city because Oakland, our time is now.
Ignacio de la Fuente,
Thank
former
you.
city council.
First, as mayor, I will set the tone. The problem with Oakland, not only the lack of leadership from the mayor when it comes to crime, but the policies of this council, the majority of this council, not all of them, the majority, defund the police, attack the police, not giving them the tools to do their jobs, not supporting them politically, which I believe that's the biggest part of the problem. What I will do as mayor, not only immediately prioritize, we need to hire additional police officers. We should be at 750, 800 within the next year and a half or two. We must give them the tools that they need to do their job. All the cities have every technology available to them. That will be license plate readers, that will be cameras, that will be fog, that will be many instruments that they have so they can do their job better and protect the businesses and protect the city better. That's what I will do. But most of all, political support. The problem is that the chief of police and the police department don't have the political support that they need to actually do their very difficult job. And I believe that that's why I'm coming back, only for that reason. Crime and the illegal dumping in our streets and the fact that people cannot walk in the streets and cannot take their kids to school without jumping over not only homeless in campus, but afraid to be out on the streets. So first, hire police officers. 2, give them the tools to do their job. 3, give them the political backup to do their job. And third, I think the violent prevention programs that we have, that we invested millions of dollars, I will add some of those to make sure that the ones that actually provide results, I will support. The ones that are not working, I will transfer those funds to some of the programs that actually are providing results. Oakland is in trouble. And if we try to do everything and concentrate in many things, we're not going to be able to resolve this problem. That's the reason I'm coming back only for the basics, only to deal with crime, only to deal with homelessness, and only to deal with delivery services. Everything else comes after that. And I believe that we create a safe city.
You have 10
we
seconds.
create a clean city. We can only retain businesses, but attract businesses. I oppose the recent tax, the progressive tax, because it's going to make it very difficult for Oakland to retain and attract businesses. So thank you for the time.
Thank you. Councilperson Reid.
Yes, as mayor, I will address the unchecked lawlessness that's been wreaking havoc, causing fear and terror all over the town, as well as address the egregious disinvestment in our community. I declared and have championed public safety day one with cost-neutral budget amendments that were not fully supported by all council members, including one here today. We have lifted up a gun violence resolution that I declared, ensuring that we put deeper investments into the Department of Violence Prevention, Intervention, and Healing Trauma Care, investing historically into that and calling on the county and the federal government, as we did today, to double that violence prevention funding for us to meet the needs on the streets of our community: jobs, workforce readiness, housing, food security, entrepreneurial programs, life coaching, emergency relocation and victim services. Those are the things that resolution should deliver more for us in the community. As mayor, I will budget 4 police academies, making sure that we bring more Oakland-grown police officers into our force, those from the community serving our community. I will make sure that we expand macro 24/7 citywide, where we've launched, and I helped ensure that it was launched in East Oakland and West Oakland. It's making sure that we utilize and leverage every technology tool and resource we can to address what has taken place in our business corridors, on our streets, throughout this community, into corridors coming and leaving our city. It's making sure that we partner with a strong DA to address the issues that go beyond just OPD, but having an interagency regional task force of every law enforcement partner and community-based organizations that are working to systemically address how we have not invested leveraging our resources as an interagency regional task force. And that was addressed today with Congresswoman Lee and Senator Padilla. We do a day of action in East Oakland. This day of action is a community safety day of action, where we take and we're looking at some of the most impacted streets in East Oakland, and we show up with 30 community-based organizations on the ground delivering services with response, with resources to tackle the issues of crime, business closures, unhoused impacts, life threats, illegal dumping and blight, mental health care and services. We've been meeting that need, and we should do more with that as a citywide model.
Thank you. Councilman Taylor, recognizing that blight, dumping, potholes, homelessness plague our city, what, if any, specific plans and actions will you take to remedy this deplorable situation? And when would action begin? Okay.
Action's going to begin on day one. Actually, action began 4 years ago when I first came into office. So I think to answer the last question first. When it comes to specific solutions, let's talk about homelessness. I have chaired our Life Enrichment Committee on the council for the past 4 years. When I first came into office, there was not a single unifying strategy that the council had adopted on how we would address homelessness. It was important for me to bring Oaklanders together, my council included, in order to unanimously pass the Permanent Access to Housing Plan, to guide how we address prevention, keeping folks from becoming housed, the immediate crisis response, and the transition to temporary and then long-term housing. Those will be the lenses through which I look at our investments as we move forward as a city. Specific plans. Number one, we have to protect tenants and support rental property owners, specifically our mom and pop owners, so that they are not bearing the brunt of situations like the COVID pandemic and others. It's also important that we improve the support services for our unhoused residents. It's not enough to give them a structure. We have to provide mental health services, the workforce development skills to help them increase their earning potential so they can sustain themselves, and also the social services so that they can access benefits that they're eligible for, but not yet getting. Ensuring health, safety, and dignity of residents in and around encampments. So when we talk about the encampment management policy, which I also led on the council for unanimous adoption, we have to fully implement that and resource it. So making sure that we have the dignity and the safety in and around those encampments. We have to build more housing of all types, affordable and market rate.
You have 10 seconds left.
It's also important that we get government out of the way, speeding up the production of affordable housing, because we know the only real solution for homelessness is getting people
Your time
housed.
has expired.
Thank you.
I am Ignacio de la Fuente. I served a beautiful city of Oakland in the council for 21 years. I am coming back and running because I can't stand and watch what is happening to our city. In the last 10 years since I left City Hall, Oakland is falling apart. The streets are not safe. Businesses are struggling. People are leaving. Seniors are attacked. Our community is not safe. Enough is enough. I'm running to take care of the people of Oakland.
This November 8th, vote Ignacio de la Fuente for mayor. He will fix Oakland.
Alameda County is where I work, play, pray, and love. Challenging times demand leaders who bring people together and fight for our rights. I'm Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm running to be your supervisor because we can and we must do better. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, nurses, firefighters, and more. Together, we can build stronger, healthier communities.
To solve Oakland's problems, we need a mayor who is determined. I grew up in poverty and I've survived domestic violence, but I was determined. I put myself through school, got into public service, and became a council member, making a difference on public safety, homelessness, and housing. As mayor, I'll bring that same determination to leading this city because Oakland, our time is now.
Ignacio.
Thank you. The first that I will do is start enforcing the laws, start enforcing the rules of the game. The reality is that we have created in Oakland an environment where everything goes. Everybody knows that they can come to Oakland, they can dump almost every other day. And what we do is we clean that site for them to come back next day. What we gotta do is to start really more aggressively implementing our laws and enforcing our laws. The reality is that Oakland, and we spend, and I don't know, you just read the audit from the city auditor, but $69 million last year in homelessness, direct homeless services, with really very little to show. That's what the audit says, not what I'm saying. And so my point is that normally what people do is throw money at the problem, use resources at the problem. We have to use both, the carrot and the stick. Why is it that Oakland has the majority, maybe 60% of the homeless in Alameda County? Why? Because other cities are not doing their share. Why? Because other cities don't allow the things that we allowed in Oakland. So first we have to set the tone that yes, we have the responsibility to help as many people we can, but not at the expense of the residents, not at the expense of the businesses, and not at the expense of the city, not at the expense of losing our ability to attract businesses or retain businesses. So yes, I believe that when I become mayor, we're gonna set up a plan. It's already a homeless encampment policy that has not really been enforced. So we start enforcing, especially the most aggressive portions of that ordinance, to make sure that people know that we're gonna help. We're gonna work with the county, multi-agency approach, but the responsibility of homelessness is the county. Alameda County in the state of California is not the city of Oakland. So as the mayor of the largest city, I will use the pulpit to make sure that the county concentrate their efforts in Oakland because we are the ones that have the problem for the entire county. So I believe that we have allowed in Oakland for people to think that we have the responsibility to do everything. I'm not gonna do everything. I'm just gonna go back to the basics.
Hey, thank you. Councilperson Reid.
I came on as city council and I was shocked that we have not had a robust, funded, and staffed plan to really deliver and meet the urgency with intentionality for this housing crisis. As mayor, I will make sure that we do produce more homes, affordable, moderate, which are those workforce housing that we have failed to deliver on. I'll make sure that we preserve affordable housing, as I relied on deeply growing up 20 to 30 deep in a 3-bedroom and having my own first apartment at $60 a month, deeply subsidized. And I'll make sure we work to protect tenant rent increases from rent increases and evictions and support our mom and pop small business owners as I tried to leverage amendments this year to do so. I served on the board of Satellite Affordable Housing. and I had the opportunity to help to build and fund and secure funding, 9 funding sources often to get housing built in this city. And I know that we can do more of that. Governor Newsom just proposed a $5 billion housing and homeless program that we need to tap into and make sure that we don't create bureaucracy in the process of securing those funds as we have in this past cycle. I'll make sure that we leverage an enhanced infrastructure finance district to figure out how do we fund and develop more of these housing developments for affordable housing. I'll identify and convert existing property as we have right here in this corridor, like Hagenberger and Ease, taking hotels, taking public city-owned land and making sure that that land is used to build up rapid housing, modular homes, tiny home villages, and more deeply investing in rental assistance, mortgage assistance, affordable home ownership programs like I was able to benefit from, helping to improve and expedite and streamline our process to get the houses fast-tracked for affordable housing in our process, funding anti-displacement services that help to keep people and our legacy Oaklanders staying rooted as tenants and as homeowners here. You mentioned paving. We've got the paving contract that will be coming before us for the next 5-year term, and we've got to make sure as mayor that we secure all the funding that's needed for that.
You have 10
for
seconds
dumping
left.
and illegal dumping and blight, I've worked to secure surveillance technology, worked to ensure that we increase environmental enforcement officers on the ground
Your time
with
has expired.
outreach, education, and enforcement, and I'll continue to do so.
Councilperson Thoa.
Yes. So let's be very clear. It's about effectiveness. We can stand up here and talk about all the different visions that we want, but it's about how do you execute? How do you implement? How do you bring partners to the table? And most importantly, how do you fund it all? And so I have a strong track record of being able to collaborate. And not just that, but know how to fund things. And so in regards to illegal dumping, we need to set up sting operation. Once we set up sting operation and take a few of these guys off the street and making sure that they pay the penalties and be tough on that, we can ensure that we are sending a strong signal to everyone saying that you cannot dump in Oakland. More so than that, in regards to our housing, yes, the current mayor has mismanaged $70 million. $70 million left City Hall doors to specific nonprofits, just a very few number of nonprofits, and not a dollar has been accounted for. And that is something that will never happen on my watch. I have a plan right now that I, as a legislator, am working to plant the seed of how we actually fund an enhanced infrastructure financing district, which I am the champion on. And then when I am your next mayor come January, we can do the hard work of starting to build. I'm excited that since day one, I started the work as a council member, and I'm excited that we have already broken ground in District 4 above 580, because I believe that if you want to live above 580, you should be able to. As a renter myself, it's about affordability. We are building 197 affordable units in the Laurel Business District. And I was working hand in glove with that private developer to ensure that that was 197 units of affordable infrastructure here in the city of Oakland. Under the current mayor, she has built 130% of market rate. So my question is, what kind of Oakland and who are you building for? Because that kind of Oakland is not fit for the beautiful, diverse community that I know Oakland to be. And so that's my charge. My charge is working for you, for the people who have always lived here, so that they continue to live,
You have
work,
10
and
seconds
thrive
left.
here. Through the Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District, my plan is to build 30,000 more housing, bringing that
Your
online
time
in the next 8
has
years.
expired.
Thank you.
Councilman, former city councilman Ignacio de la Fuente. Unlike other surrounding cities, Oakland does not have a single department store, not one. Can you explain to our viewers, our voters, your plan, if any, to deal with this problem? And what is your specific commitment to economic vitality within the city of Oakland, and how will you make this a reality?
I like that word reality, because that's the first thing we should look at, to be real and reality. The reality is that nobody will come to Oakland the way it is today. That is unsafe, that is unclean. Nobody will come. Very difficult to attract businesses and retain businesses, especially when we do the highest, most expensive city in Alameda County, especially when the policymakers want to raise another tax, especially when we're going after the very few corporate offices we have in Oakland. with a 700+% increase in taxes. All of that impacts our ability to retain and attract businesses. So the first thing that I will do, right, again, concentrate and get the city safe. Number two, you're right. We have in the Alameda, the Coliseum, which is 150 acres of land owned by the city and the county. Now the county sold their half to the A's. But together, it's about 150 acres. It's a prime land with every mode of transportation. But we just have to make sure that, again, they have the ability to attract businesses and negotiate with developers and negotiate with businesses, be a salesperson and go and get them to attract them. It's a building that has been empty here, not too far from here, for almost 10 years. It used to be Walmart. It's still empty. And nobody has bothered to actually go out and try to get some businesses here. So I will create a safe city. I will be the salesperson. I will go and negotiate with stores to come to Oakland. I am Ignacio de la Fuente. I serve a beautiful city of Oakland in the council for 21 years. I am coming back and running because I can't stand and watch what is happening to our city. In the last 10 years since I left City Hall, Oakland is falling apart. The streets are not safe. Businesses are struggling. People are leaving. Seniors are attacked. Our community is not safe. Enough is enough. I'm running to take care of the people of Oakland.
This November 8th, vote Ignacio de la Fuente for mayor. He will fix Oakland.
Alameda County is where I work, play, pray, and love. Challenging times demand leaders who bring people together and fight for our rights. I'm Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm running to be your supervisor because we can and we must do better. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, nurses, firefighters, and more. Together, we can build stronger, healthier communities.
To solve Oakland's problems, we need a mayor who is determined. I grew up in poverty and I've survived domestic violence, but I was determined. I put myself through school, got into public service, and became a council member, making a difference on public safety, homelessness, and housing. As mayor, I'll bring that same determination to leading this city because Oakland, our time is now.
Councilperson Reid.
Yes, well, Oakland definitely has to do a better job of selling itself. And we've got to address and tackle those issues around public safety, illegal dumping, and blight. We hear that often from businesses who are considering those impacts are very impactful for them, for their employees, and seeing that economic vitality for their business. As mayor, we can make sure that we drive that more equitable investment with supportive services from the Economic Workforce Development Department. That's a department that under the mayor, it leads out with a part of that charge. It's making sure that we fund and invest capital, tax incentives, grants, programs that support businesses to keep those businesses that are here alive. When I came on the city council, in the district that I serve, more than 800 business licenses shut down. We've got to support our businesses to be able to stay here, grow that economy here, and build out like the Coliseum area that we're in right now. We are under contract in exclusive negotiation with the African American Sports Entertainment Group. It's an opportunity to partner, to build out this incredible vision with an economic engine that they're driving for, including our support for the WNBA, which I voted for on the Joint Power Authority, to make sure that this corridor here is vibrant, it's thriving, it allows small businesses to be supported, it has community ownership for us in this project that is scheduled to deliver 30,000 jobs. We need to make sure that we partner with Visit Oakland. The governor has $96 million for tourism. How do we take advantage of creating that excitement and interest in Oakland as we build out under new leadership what the vision for our city is? Small businesses are our future. 93% of the businesses in Oakland are small businesses making less than $1 million. We've got to shore up and support our small businesses. We got to create that economic empowerment. We've invested in 2 organizations to support specifically our Black and brown community small businesses, going out into the street with technical assistance, helping them to build capacity through the Black Cultural Zone and through the Unity Council. Those are incredible partners to build on.
10 seconds left.
And we've got to do things like expanding our Oakland resilient families. We've got to help the economy by putting income into our families here. We know that the poverty levels here are incredibly impactful.
Your
and
time
Oakland
has
Resilience
expired.
works to eliminate the poverty and the inequities with a generational wealth gap with funding.
Councilperson Thoa.
Yes, we need a mayor who is going to take economic development seriously. This is not a new issue. This issue of not having retail in the city of Oakland has been here for decades. And I will be that mayor to put a strong team together around economic development, going out, working with this team, hand in glove, to ensure that we can bring back that retail, that retail that we are losing so much tax dollars to in regards to Emeryville or San Leandro. We have to have that. We have to have the retail space, and not just that, but be able to go out and make sure that we are investing in major corridors such as Hagenberger, because first impressions do matter. And I am that person who can roll up their sleeves to ensure that these retailers can come to Oakland. And not just that, but Oakland can be a green hub. We can actually have jobs that come to Oakland that can hire Oaklanders, ensuring that we have the 50% local hire is being implemented through community benefits, where we have entry-level jobs, mid-level jobs, and making sure that it is our Oakland residents who are securing these jobs. It's about intentionality, and not just that, but effectiveness. And that is something that, again, I have a track record on. And more so than that, we have to do the partnership and create the pathways and pipelines. Again, with our young people, when I say young people, I'm talking about high school students all the way to 30-year-olds. So creating those intentional pipelines will make sure that we can sustain not only the residents that are living here today, but make sure that they are able to sustain their families and continue to live, work, and play here in a safe environment. More so than that, there is a way that we can think outside of the box of what can be built, yes, at the old
You
Walmart.
have 10 seconds left.
And working closely, I am a huge supporter and have been since day one of the African American Sports and Entertainment Association. And for me, it's about making sure that the Coliseum land
And
is
your
being
time
built on and
has
developed.
expired.
Thank you.
Councilperson Reid.
Do I get to answer that question?
Oh, sorry, Taylor.
All right. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, Councilman Taylor.
You just knew my answer was going to be that good.
Yes.
We ready?
Ready.
Okay. I think it's pretty comical that you have folks who are career politicians, never operated a business in their life, talking about how they're the queen of economic development. We have to have folks who actually know what it takes to get the job done. I have led my own business. I have advised other businesses. When we talk about actually growing the economy, that is what I have focused on my entire career. And so when we talk about economic development here in Oakland, we have to activate our underused and undervalued assets, our people and our land. That's exactly what I've done from day one as a council member. The vacant lot at the corner of 73rd and Foothill, at the corner of Eastmont Mall, we turned that growing weeds waist high, collecting litter, into an urban oasis called Liberation Park, a place where small businesses can come engage with customers on their path towards establishing a brick and mortar. We created a pipeline accelerating entrepreneurship in East Oakland, bringing more than $8 million from the state of California to invest the competence, the confidence, and the capital into these businesses so that they can grow, expand, tapping into innovation here on the ground in Oakland in order to grow and create our own economy. But yes, we also have to go outside. As a mayor, I will establish an economic development corporation whose sole focus will be to go out, recruit, engage businesses, understanding what their needs are and attracting them to here, come and establish right here in Oakland. It's also important that we focus on safety, because if people don't feel safe in our community, then they will not come and shop and spend their dollars here. And we must look at the transformational projects that have the opportunity to bring significant new development, department
10
stores,
seconds
and retail,
left.
like Howard Terminal, like the Coliseum area, and other investments that are necessary. And that's what I look forward to doing as Oakland's next mayor, creating those economic opportunities that put us on the same par as San Francisco and other nearby cities.
Now, Councilperson Reid, I was just so anxious to get this question in that I jumped ahead of myself, but that's okay. According to Dr. Eleanor Ramsey's disparity study, the city of Oakland does less than 2% of its contracting business with black contractors. Apparently, this has been going on for over 20 years with no action taken either by the city council or the mayor. If elected mayor, what, if anything specifically, will you do to remedy this tragedy?
As the first Black woman mayor in Oakland's 170-year history, I will address removing the systemic and structural racist barriers. I co-authored a resolution to declare racism a public health crisis in the city. And we've got to back it up. You're absolutely right. That study is correct and it's shameful. $500 billion have gone out the door and less than 2%, $1.4 billion have gone to Black and women-owned businesses. And so we've got to do more of what certainly Councilmember Taylor and I launched, a local business empowerment through contracting resolution to ensure that we increase access and opportunity and funding for Black and women-owned businesses. We also put a minority contracting business support program in place to make sure that we meet our Black and brown contractors on the ground. And we've got to invest that $1 million grant. We've got to double it to show up with how we support those businesses with training programs for minority-owned business contractors, helping them to deliver more services to the community, helping them to grow their businesses, helping them to sustain in this city. Supporting a community resilience fund to make sure that beyond those who are contractors, that we leverage entrepreneurial opportunities, entrepreneurial incubators for those who are even youth in OUSD and in the community colleges to stir up more of that excitement about building their business here, having it sustain here. Prior to coming on council, I worked to secure $100 million in a community grant that could be targeted to the Black community in partnership with Greenlining Institute, Black Women Organized for Political Action, and the Black Cultural Zone. And we've got to do more of that, calling on the state and federal partners to also come to the table with the funding that's needed. We've got to create a commercial rent tax credit. We've got to make sure that restaurants and non-grocery store businesses have the contracting support and services.
You have 10 seconds left.
And we've got to continue our remote business assistance center. These are centers out in the community that allow access for those Black and brown businesses who are looking to have the support and services. And we've got to expand youth services, youth workforce services.
I am Ignacio de la Fuente. I serve a beautiful city of Oakland in the council for 21 years. I am coming back and running because I can't stand and watch what is happening to our city. In the last 10 years since I left City Hall, Oakland is falling apart. The streets are not safe. Businesses are struggling. People are leaving. Seniors are attacked. Our community is not safe. Enough is enough. I'm running to take care of the people of Oakland.
This November 8th, vote Ignacio de la Fuente for mayor. He will fix Oakland.
Alameda County is where I work, play, pray, and love. Challenging times demand leaders who bring people together and fight for our rights. I'm Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm running to be your supervisor because we can and we must do better. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, nurses, firefighters, and more. Together, we can build stronger, healthier communities.
To solve Oakland's problems, we need a mayor who is determined. I grew up in poverty and I've survived domestic violence, but I was determined. I put myself through school, got into public service, and became a council member, making a difference on public safety, homelessness, and housing. As mayor, I'll bring that same determination to leading this city because Oakland, our time is now.
Councilperson Thoa.
Thank you so much. So my opponents will tell you that they are supporting our local Black-owned contractors. And they have set forward a resolution that opens up the contract to any minority-owned contractors, no matter where you are at. And for me, it's about if you are invested in Oakland, you're headquartered here. And so what I wanted to do and what we have done is ensure that Black and minority contractors that are headquartered here in the city of Oakland are getting that priority, that we are investing back into their businesses as they have done so by showing us that they are headquartered here in the city of Oakland. And that is why I have the honor of being supported by Doug Blackshear, a community leader in this regard in regards to Black contracting. Also Eddie Diller as well too. And it's not so much about just talking about it and making these policies. It's about the intention of it. We know that it is systemic racism when you say that, oh, well, you can't get a contract because you don't have the experience. Well, if no one is there to allow for that experience to actually take place, then of course you wouldn't have the experience. And that is why what I have worked on, create intentional carve-outs for our local minority-owned Black and brown and minority businesses to ensure that they get that carve out, to ensure that they get that intentional experience so that they will be able to, in the future, be able to bid on these big projects, millions of dollars from the city of Oakland. Because of course, why wouldn't we want to invest in our Black, brown, and minority-owned businesses that are here in Oakland? Because it's an ecosystem, and we must ensure that we create that pathway. It is not enough to say, yes, contract with Black, brown, and minority-owned businesses, but let's open it up to everybody, no matter if you're in San Francisco or in Danville or what have you. Because in San Francisco, they have the same resolution, but they take care of theirs first. And so here in Oakland, I'm unapologetically wanting to take care of our own Black, brown, and minority-owned businesses. And because I have the experience, 10 years of working in public government is not like a business. And if you try to come into public government to make it like a business, you will see great heartache and failure.
Has expired. Councilman Taylor.
Thank you. I'd like to pick on that. Public government is not run like a business. That is absolutely true, and that is some of the challenges that we face. When you look at those who have been a part of our city government for a long time, and the fact that we have had disparity study after disparity study after disparity study, but not made any progress, that is a sign that we are failing. And so, yes, when I first came into office 4 years ago, one of the first meetings I had was with the Black and minority contractors, and we went through the details of not just the problem, but what some of those solutions were. That's why I championed the release of the disparity study when others in the city were holding back. That's why I not only wrote the legislation to empower our local small minority businesses, but saw to it that every 2 weeks we met with the city administration, with the minority contractors, other community advocates, in order to make sure that we didn't just set a law and what we wanted to happen, but we actually delivered on it consistently and made sure that happened. In that time, we brought more than $1 million in contractor development programs. We brought 3 additional staff to the Contracting and Compliance Department to actually help move things along and help these minority contractors get access. We implemented more than 80% of the recommendations for the race-neutral recommendations in the disparity study and set a path to continue the additional work that would pave the way for the remainder of those. And that's the work that we did. It takes not just a desire or ability to call out the problem, but the hard work of getting it done. And so that's what I have focused on from day one, delivering real results. And when we talk about policies that have been brought forward, as my colleague just did, you have to understand the details. If you don't have a single Black, a minority-owned company that's making more than $20 million,
you have 10 seconds.
That tier to other Black minority contractors that happen to be outside of the city is the way that you create diversity in contracting and employment.
Mr. De La Fuente.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Definitely unacceptable, but I have to respectfully disagree with the analysis of 20 years that no council member or no mayor has done anything. I believe that in the last 20 or 30 years, many council members, from Desiree Wood Jones to Larry Reid to Henry Chang to many council members, we have worked and reworked and have made improvements to the local and small minority participation programs. We enacted many of those. That is unacceptable, absolutely. But that we try to continue trying to make sure that we improve it, yes. But as mayor, I can tell you that it is the responsibility of the mayor. And I believe that I will be a mayor. I will be a working mayor. I will be a mayor that, especially major projects, that will be the A's construction site, if it happens. That will be the Coliseum. That will be our major projects. That will be the Army base. I will be personally involved in negotiating to make sure that the primes or get minority contractors in within the project from the beginning. The ability of the mayor to really actually work, not just send staff, but I want to be accountable. I want to be responsible. When the stadium happened or Coliseum happened and all of that, I agree with Loren. A lot of policies, changes, a lot of programs, and all of that. At the end of the day, somebody's got to be accountable. And council members are 8. Mayor is only 1. That's the reason I believe that with my ability, I negotiated contracts, collective bargaining agreements with major companies during my lifetime as a labor negotiator. So I know what to do. We just got to get into the trenches and actually attract businesses, negotiate from the start, and make sure that we are included. Everyone is included. The local small minority, especially Black contractors, are included in that deal, are included in that project. That's the way to do it. Otherwise, you get
have
convoluted.
10 seconds left.
And point fingers and nobody takes responsibility. As your mayor, I will.
Final question. Since the A's are committed to leaving the Coliseum area and moving to Howard Terminal, what is your vision for the development of the Coliseum area, and how important is it to you that the A's remain in Oakland? We will start with Councilperson Taylor.
Okay. So when we talk about the A's, I think I have to acknowledge that as a kid born and raised here in Oakland, I grew up rooting for the hometown team, going to baseball games with my grandparents, sitting in the bleachers, eating homemade sandwiches and drinking Shasta sodas. I want to replicate a similar experience with my grandchildren when it comes to a local sports team that we can root for and be proud of. But I'm not willing to sell the soul of our city in order to accomplish that. So we have been working hard. I have been advising our negotiating team in order to come up with the deal that creates a win-win where Oakland, what we invest comes back multifold in terms of returns of affordable housing, in terms of job creation, in terms of future tax revenues and other community benefits. And that's what I've committed to making sure is that we have a deal where Oakland wins. When it comes to the Coliseum, I believe that that is the most valuable piece of real estate on this side of the Rockies. And in order to capture that and take advantage of that, we have to move forward and not just continue talking about what could be. The Coliseum City Plan that was developed in 2014, but we haven't made progress on. The number one thing is I think we need to get the A's out from the ownership there. And so what I've advised our negotiating team is to work as the Howard Terminal progresses to ensure that the A's are willing to relinquish their portion of control so that we can work with the African American Sports and Entertainment Group and build out the full potential of this incredible site, where we're creating dozens, teens of blocks of new development for affordable housing, for open space, for retail, that department store we were talking about earlier, hotels, convention center space, corporate headquarters, new jobs. That's
You
what we need to
have
focus
10
on.
seconds left.
And that opportunity is what we have to tap into and make sure gets delivered, including all of Oaklanders in that process and ensuring that those in the immediate vicinity benefit, because East Oakland has been neglected and left
Your
out.
time
today.
has expired.
Thank you.
I am Ignacio de la Fuente. I served a beautiful city of Oakland in the council for 21 years. I am coming back and running because I can't stand and watch what is happening to our city. In the last 10 years since I left City Hall, Oakland is falling apart. The streets are not safe. Businesses are struggling. People are leaving. Seniors are attacked. Our community is not safe. Enough is enough. I'm running to take care of the people of Oakland.
This November 8th, vote Ignacio de la Fuente for mayor. He will fix Oakland.
Alameda County is where I work, play, pray, and love. Challenging times demand leaders who bring people together and fight for our rights. I'm Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm running to be your supervisor because we can and we must do better. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, nurses, firefighters, and more. Together, we can build stronger, healthier communities.
To solve Oakland's problems, we need a mayor who is determined. I grew up in poverty and I've survived domestic violence, but I was determined. I put myself through school, got into public service, and became a council member, making a difference on public safety, homelessness, and housing. As mayor, I'll bring that same determination to leading this city because Oakland, our time is now.
Former City Council person Ignacio de la Fuentes.
Thank you, sir. You know, it's interesting that one of the questions about Oakland has no major retail in Oakland and all that, and for years and years, I think that has been the case. So we have an incredible opportunity here. But to talk about the A's, I believe that, like I said, I've been in Oakland for 51 years of my life. And I can tell you that I remember when we had the Raiders, we had the Warriors, we had the A's. I got elected in '92, and in '94, I was thrown into into the responsibility of trying to retain the A's and retain the Warriors. People forget about that. They just call it the Raiders deal. I call it all the professional franchises that we had at that time, 3. And I think one of the things that people miss, one of the things that people sometimes don't understand, when we had those 3 teams, Oakland was in the map. Remember the blimp? 240 plus nights a year and days a year. We were in national and international television. Marketing Oakland. The good parts of Oakland. The blimp, they show the lake and show all the good things about Oakland. Marketing. Now, obviously, we have 1 team and we're about to lose it. Why? Lack of leadership, in my opinion. I think that the mayor should have been in the trenches a year ago, 2 years ago, to trying to make sure they were with the A's. Howard Terminal. I met with the board of directors. I met with the executive director to make sure the Howard Terminal was a terminal that will not hamper the ability of the port to do business. And they assure me, and obviously Howard Terminal has been kind of a story for a long time. So I do support keeping the last thing that we have in Oakland. I will, as mayor, probably is going to be my responsibility because nothing's going to happen this year. I will be the person directly in negotiations with not only with the A's, but with the port and with developers to make sure that this project is built and that we retain the A's. We retain the A's not at the expense of the taxpayers, but at the expense of economic development that we can rebuild, that we can leverage our resources. So yes, I believe that we have the opportunity. We should do whatever we can to do.
Councilperson Reid.
Yes, this is a significant $1 billion investment with this project that has this massive vision to transform Oakland and generate billions back into the city. It is certainly a large real estate deal. It has the opportunity to have that retail, the restaurants, the services, to grow our small businesses beyond just a ballpark, open space, $15 million investment in local artists and youth service programs, anti-displacement programs. All of that is great, and we want to see the numbers. We want to see the deal that is yet to be presented to us. The A's want to hit an overrun, and we've got to make sure that in this deal and as mayor that it delivers for Oakland residents, for Oakland taxpayers. We put forth community benefits. Those community benefits are clear and where and how we want to see the A's partner with us on this $1 billion project. We want to make sure that it delivers the 35% affordable housing as we're in a housing crisis and making sure that those who've been disproportionately impacted have access to the housing that will come up. We want to make sure that this project does not put our taxpayers at stake, that it doesn't put our general fund at risk where we work to deliver out of that fund the critical services for housing, for paving, for homelessness, for illegal dumping and blight. We want to make sure that it is privately financed. The A's committed to build a 100% privately financed development, and we are working to hold them accountable. I wish that we would be talking about this deal at the Coliseum. While they have ownership through the county at that land, that was an incredible place to build out that vision. That is not the case, and we do need to hold them accountable with where and how they're progressed on that property as we work to talk about how we might build out the Howard Terminal vision. But that vision has to be protected to preserve the best interests of our community as we work to negotiate with the Oakland A's. I have negotiated on large land deals like the Oakland Army base, where I work to negotiate into an exclusive negotiating agreement with our large recycling firms at that facility and bringing a community-driven process to the table. We've got $400 million community funds that must be delivered on with social justice action.
Councilperson Thoa.
Thank you so much. I just want to state that I agree with everything that was stated about that question with Councilmember Reid. So I'll just add on top of that. I've been very clear in regards to how to get to a yes in regards to Howard Terminal. We should not be out there cheerleading for this project to work when we're in negotiations actively. And so for me to get to a yes, I need to see in black and white on paper that there are strong backstops in regards to making sure that it is not Oaklanders and the taxpayers who will be responsible for the finances of this stadium that's being built out. And not just that, but the public financing of the infrastructure as well too. Making sure that we have strong community benefits, that when there are sales in regards to real estate transfer taxes, that these taxes are going back to that neighborhood to make sure that we are putting in the mitigations that are necessary. We must have at least 15% affordable housing on site and 20% off-site, all paid for by the Oakland A's. All services that are happening on the day of game days or concerts must be paid for by the Oakland A's. More so than that, the vendors. How many opportunities and at what rate can there be vendors inside of the stadium on game days and on concert days, making sure that these are local Oakland-owned businesses, making sure they get the opportunities to be vendors. In regards to the Coliseum site, we must ensure that Coliseum City is not just a vision anymore, that it is actually implemented. For far too long, District 7 has suffered the inability to actually bring someone, a developer, to actually develop that space. And so currently right now, technically, the county still owns that land because the A's have yet to pay their first share of what they've said that they would pay. And so the county has an opportunity right now to actually pull back on that contract.
You have 10
so that we can
seconds
have
left.
this public space to ensure that we can work with the AASCG, the African American Sports and Entertainment Group, to ensure that there is retail, that there is affordable housing, social housing, that there are services.
Your time has expired.
Thank you.
I am Ignacio de la Fuente. I served our beautiful city of Oakland in the council for 21 years. I am coming back and running because I can't stand and watch what is happening to our city. In the last 10 years since I left City Hall, Oakland is falling apart. The streets are not safe. Businesses are struggling. People are leaving. Seniors are attacked. Our community is not safe. Enough is enough. I'm running to take care of the people of Oakland.
This November 8th, vote Ignacio de la Fuente for mayor. He will fix Oakland.
Alameda County is where I work, play, pray, and love. Challenging times demand leaders who bring people together and fight for our rights. I'm Rebecca Kaplan, and I'm running to be your supervisor because we can and we must do better. I'm honored to be endorsed by the Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, nurses, firefighters, and more. Together, we can build stronger, healthier communities.
To solve Oakland's problems, we need a mayor who is determined. I grew up in poverty and I've survived domestic violence, but I was determined. I put myself through school, got into public service, and became a council member, making a difference on public safety, homelessness, and housing. As mayor, I'll bring that same determination to leading this city because Oakland, our time is now.
Each of you will now have 2 minutes for your closing statements as to why you should be elected the next mayor of Oakland. Councilperson Reid, you may proceed.
Oakland, we are at a critical crossroads in our history. We are facing seemingly impossible challenges that many of us have too long endured. I have lived through seasons in my life that I didn't believe that I would come through well before the pandemic, from childhood trauma, childhood abuse, having contracts on my life, overcoming intimate domestic partner abuse, facing too many crises in my life that many of us are. We need a leader who's got the lived, the legislative, and the professional experience to show up and deliver for us. I have been on council long enough to see some things and to hear some things that I know have not worked for us, but I have not seen people show up for us. I have not seen that level of intentionality and urgency in a decade of some of the leaders talking about showing up for communities like East Oakland, for our Black and brown community that have carried the weight of disproportionate amounts of inequities and disparities for far too long. We need a leader who will show up and deliver solutions and strategies and not excuses. That's the leader that I am. I am built for this moment. I am built for coming in and delivering a more equitable, multi-billion-dollar budget that shows up with us, working to build bridges and partnerships regionally. I'm the only leader here at the level who's worked at the state level to bring coalitions, collaborating, working to make sure that we delivered in Oakland at the state level, the federal level, and the local level, bringing people together, unified to collaborate, showing up with community, leading out not from City Hall, but out on the ground with my department leaders showing up to meet the needs of our community. They want to be heard, they want to be seen, and they want to be responded to. That's the work that I've been leading. And we'll do that, reducing crime, making sure that we've got violence prevention intervention double, making sure that we've got Oakland grown officers coming up, making sure that we've got macro,
You have
making
10
sure that we
seconds
invest
left.
in housing solutions that actually bring people into housing, not managing the crisis, but restructuring our funding to get people into housing dignity that they deserve. I am that leader, and I believe that we will deliver more for Oakland together. Follow me at reidforoakland.com. Thank you.
Former City Council person Ignacio de la Fuentes.
Thank you very much. I am coming back and running for mayor because experience matters. I'm coming back because I care about the city. I have lived in this city half of my life, and I can tell you that, like you, I don't like what I see. I'm coming back with the understanding and the experience of knowing that you can say everything and want to do everything, but it's very difficult once you get into office. That's the reason why concentrating on the basics, concentrating on the people that are affected, in my opinion, concentrating on the issues that are affecting everything else. Crime, homeless encampments taking over a city, not clean the streets, very poor response from city government. That's the reasons why I'm running, not for anything else. I know that the cities can do a lot of the things. I know the affordable housing is important. I know that many other issues are important, but I also know that the biggest responsibility of a mayor of a city is to make sure that your residents are safe, that your businesses are protected, that you can walk the streets, that you can tell the children to the parks, and instead of homeless encampments being taken over your parks, the basics. And the people that suffer the consequences of these policies is you. It's the people that live in our neighborhoods. It's the people that see this every single day. When you see police cars going back and forth but not stopping. When it takes 40 minutes or an hour for police to respond. All of those issues are the basics. And that's the reason why I'm running. Because I believe they have the political will to make the decisions that will be necessary in order for us to get the city back on track. I'm running because I know that I can do this job. And I'm running because I'm going to be a working mayor. I'm not going to be sitting in that office just watching. I'm going to be sitting in that office administrating the city because I want you to make me responsible for either the good and the bad. So thank you very much. Please support Ignacio de la Fuente for mayor on November 8th. Gracias.
Councilmember Taylor.
Thank you for this opportunity. As mentioned earlier, I'm a kid from Oakland who has seen the challenges that my city is facing. I love this town. It is amazing. Beautiful people, amazing opportunities, but yet we have lost our way. We are struggling to deliver on the dream of Oaklanders, the promise to Oaklanders that our city must fulfill. And so, yes, I'm running to ensure that we deliver on those promises and help our residents realize the dream of a better life for themselves and for their families. The same dream my grandparents moved here for is the same dream that immigrant families move to Oakland for today in order to realize a better life for themselves and their families. The same dream that a young mother in East Oakland has for their children to reach the highest heights and not be constrained by the zip code within which they live. And it's the same dream that a young entrepreneur has, that their idea can turn into value that sustains themselves and future generations of their family. That's what I'm running for mayor to ensure that we deliver on. And it takes a mayor who has the courage to make tough decisions, who has the competence to actually deliver and follow through on them, and who has the connection to the community to ensure that the decisions that we bring forward, the policies we implement, and how we carry them out actually sustains our community and delivers equitably for all. That's what I promise to deliver and bring as Oakland's next mayor, and I welcome you to join me in that. Leaders have but a moment. Our job is to make sure that we move forward intentionally to set the future generations up for success, and I welcome you to partner with me in delivering on that. My campaign is not about me. That's why we are propelled by Oakland, the campaign that has the majority of its support from Oaklanders, both financially as well as the number and volumes of folks. We have been hitting the ground, hearing exactly what's needed and delivering to that. So I thank you for this opportunity. Please check out more details at lorenforoakland.com, and I look forward to working with you and representing you as your next mayor.
Thank you. Councilperson Thoa.
Thank you. It's about effectiveness and accountability. I always say that past experiences is indicative of the future experiences as well, too. And so I am proud to be an effective council member. It's not about just bringing forward policy. It's about actually doing the work behind the scenes and with community to ensure that you have the votes on the city council to move forward with anything. This is why we're seeing the state of Oakland as it is today. It's because the mayor's office cannot work with the council and vice versa. There is no trust, there is no respect. And again, I am the most effective council member because I can work collaboratively with everyone. And that is why I was able to actually get 197 affordable units, again, built in not just my district, but I want to bring this to the whole citywide. It is not enough to actually take credit for projects that are just somehow just happened in your district, like Acoma Market, which was championed by CJ Johnson, Carolyn Johnson, or like the Eastmont housing projects, which was championed by Councilmember Brooks. And so again, government is not a business. If you try to come into government and try to run it like a business, we saw what happened with Trump. It doesn't actually work. We must invest in the basics through an equity lens, making sure that those districts that have been forgotten about are getting investments. And that is why I was able to go out, use my connection at the state level to get state funding, $2 million, invested directly to East Oakland parks, because I know they've been overlooked. This is the kind of mayor that we need, a mayor who can go out and get other people's resources and bring it back to Oakland, because we're in so many different crises that we do not have a day to wait. We need a mayor who can start on day one, and I am that mayor who can start on day one.
You
I
have
have
10
the
seconds
track record,
left.
and not just that, but I have the endorsement of our city workers. I can unite not only the city council and the mayor's office, but I can unite the city workers. They've all endorsed and support my campaign, along with many other electeds. Please go to shengforoakland.com for more info.
And let me thank each of you for appearing on All About Community. All About Community is designed to inform our community of what's going on. I want the audience to understand the importance of voting. November 8th is an opportunity for you to elect the next mayor of the city. And it is incumbent upon each of you to understand what these candidates have represented, and that you then make a decision and go out and vote on November 8th. And remember this, no matter what you do, when you do it, or how you do it, in the final analysis, it is still going to be all about community. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. We have enjoyed this opportunity.